Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Martians and aliens. We're not speciesists on this channel. Everybody's welcome. My name's Alan, and welcome to Mars, the second Genesis. We're going to be looking at part of a panorama from Sol 241. And we're going to take a deep dive into part of a panorama that I've been working on. This is really cool, guys. There's a lot of structures, a lot of bits and pieces, sculptures, you name it, it's here. So we're going to zoom in very, very closely on this. Now in Stereo Photo Maker, if you press F2, you can zoom in. And depending on your graphics card, my graphics card, it was good in its day, like myself. It needs upgrading, like myself. So we've zoomed in quite a bit here. And let's take a wee look, see what we can see, shall we? Now, these parts here, I don't believe are rocks. Especially this piece. This looks mechanical. I'll zoom in a wee bit more, let you see. Something mechanical. If you press F3, you can zoom back out again. If you look at this part here, the shape of it, the way it curves round and attaches to this, and we can see in the sand, this comes round and along, and it's part of this. So I think this whole part is a structure. I'll zoom out a wee bit more so we can see. It looks pretty cool. Let's zoom in again, see what we can see. So you can see this part is mechanical. And obviously this as well. And if you see below the sand, you can see part of it. I mean, I've been able to remove some of the garbage, but there's only so much you can do. If anybody tells you that's a rock, nothing more than a rock, nothing to see here, guys, I think they must be cuckoo. As you can see the way that curves round, comes along, up, it's perfectly triangular, and we've got this tube thing. And if we zoom out, you can see it comes down and follow that contour. And this here is part of that. Boy, what a structure that is, eh? And then we've got this piece here, whatever that is, it looks part of the structure. And all these bits, just a lot of debris. What is good here is you can see partly into the sand. And you can actually see the shape of these structures, even though NASA's mapped sand to it. And you can see it's square there, and it's tapering in the way. And that's the front face there, and it goes back, and it joins onto all this. So I'll zoom out and let you see this structure. And you see it? This, all there. All that there, that seems to be the front face, and then it curves and then goes round, and this is part of it. Now again, what I'm going to do is upload this to the Google Drive. I'll put the link to Stereo Photo Maker as well in the description, so you can download both of them and do what I'm doing, and you can scrutinise them till your heart's content. What in the hell is that? You see the way that comes down? It seems to be at the back as well. See the way that comes down and along? Look at the overall shape of that. Now I think either that's kind of a sculpted form or mechanical bits. Could be hieroglyphs. This here as well. I mean, all these bits are part of the same structure. I mean, you can actually see below the sand. If you look at this, you can see it curves round and there's a face there. Let's take a wee close look at this bit. In case you're wondering what that squeaking is, it's my mouse. So you can see there, in the original image you just couldn't see any of this, but you can clearly see what that is. I mean, it's parts of structures, as Dave calls them, non-fractal. These are not natural forms, guys. Some wee alien designed and built that. And you can see with this triangular piece, this may be part of the roof apex. You can see a lot of destroyed structures and stuff round about it. And this part here as well. Now, that to me looks like an entrance. Don't know what you guys think, but I think that's an entrance. I think that's where the wee aliens go in. Look at the overall shape of this front part. And that looks like an entrance. Actually, I'll zoom in and let you see. That definitely looks like an entrance. I mean, the way that's shaped. All this here. The interesting part here is I'm going to zoom out again here. If you look at that, that looks like a flat face, or was a flat face. So I think these may be hieroglyphs. It could be some sort of sculpting or mechanical bits. It's quite hard because NASA's put sand in between to break it up. But that definitely looks like an entrance to me. Now if we look at these bits here, we can actually see the shadows of structures. And these black areas could be entrances or windows. See the way it steps up? And then we've got these bits at the top. I'm going to zoom out and show you this. Look very carefully at the shadows in the sand. It comes down. Look at that. This is the front face. The way that comes down. And then we've got the flat bit there. And it joins to this. That's a complete structure, guys. And the shape of these is absolutely cool. And again, look here, we can see these are buried structures. So you can see that goes further down. That seems to be the bottom there. I'll zoom in a wee bit. You see the shadow there? That looks like the corner. And these parts are just bits that they've left to make them look like rocks. Now, anybody that thinks that's a rock, they need to go to Specsavers and get their eyes tested. And it seems to be an entrance. You can see partly into the structure. But if you look at the shadows in the sand and just discard the texture, you can see, I mean, look at that. That is something else. I mean, that really is pretty cool. I mean, look at the shapes. Now look at that across there. That looks like a perfect face, perfectly flat. And then we've got this coming up. And this. This piece I orientated, this isn't the way it was orientated on the panorama. On the panorama, this didn't look straight. And what I did is I got all the horizontals, I mapped all the horizontals, and I found out what angle was the horizontal, and I changed the orientation so that you could see what was structures and what wasn't. And you can see here, these are all pretty much straight. So that's what tells you it's a structure, you know. And NASA's taking it off of the proper axis, so you don't see it as a structure, you just see it as something else, maybe rocks. See, in my opinion, I don't actually think there's many rocks on Mars. I think it's all CGI they're putting over this. Look at this, for example. Honestly, do they honestly think that we're going to think this is sand ripples or sand dunes? I mean, look at that. You can clearly see that's like walls. Look at the way that sand dune seems to morph into a bit of shredded metal. We can see this here is mechanical. And the thing behind it, whatever that is. Look at how straight these are. They're all parallel with one another. Yeah, NASA, we believe it's rocks. It's a square box type thing there. And this. So look at how that continues down into the sand. I believe that goes straight down. There, that looks pretty cool, whatever it is. And we can see some sort of hollow structure there. You can see that we can actually see inside it, whatever it is. We've got something triangular there. I actually think what NASA does is they've raised the ground plane and they just leave the roof sticking out. So you can see there that this, what we're looking at is a structure. We can see these parts here. This could be the roof. Look at the way we've got a shadow at this side. And they've left bits sticking out here. You can actually see the shape of it in the sand, which is pretty cool. So I suggest that you download them. It's not costing you nothing, it's for free. You download the stuff and have a wee look at it yourself. Give it a good scrutinise. We've got some more mechanical stuff here. You know, if you look at the sand round about it, you can actually see perfectly straight line coming up. You can actually see how they've mapped this garbage onto it. If you look at the overall shape, we can see this is something sticking out. This is something as well. You can actually see the ghost of what's below it. Now if you look at this looks like a wall here, and that's another wall, and it comes down. Obviously goes further down into the sand. Get this piece here. Now look at all this. I mean, is that not cool or what? Now see there, shredded metal, or it looks to me like some sort of hieroglyphs or decorative carving. Maybe this is part of the roof, or I don't know, but it's certainly not rocks. I mean, if you've seen that on Earth, you would go over and have a wee dig to see what's there. Now, this looks quite interesting. See this piece here? You can see something below the sand. And look at that. It's curved. This piece is curved as well. See, it comes down in steps. You see, when you look at it in 3D and you stare at it, you actually see the shape of what's there, even though they've tried to disguise it with this shite. Shame on you, NASA. And we've got this here. That's maybe an entrance, or was an entrance, or something like that. A window, maybe. But I'm sure if you were on Mars and had a wee peek in there, you would see all their wee control panels and all their technology. But some of it looks quite. It doesn't look like as if it's thousands of years old. Look at that, for example. And look at the shape of it. It doesn't look that eroded to me. This here. Now, that is one piece of weird alien shit. What in God's name is that? Look at it. Oh my God. If you study this, you can actually see that's a hole there. And that's a hole. And it only looks weird, but when you look at the overall thing, the maps sand to this is a structure, or part of it. And this thing at the back here, that definitely looks sort of structural. So there we go, guys. That's a wee tour of a Martian, maybe a city,